early, but it's all good. Yeah.
What's the best part about playing for Oregon? Just like the coolest thing that like no one would expect.
About playing football?
Football or for Oregon.
Oh, playing for shoot. Honestly, I would have to say like the resources that we have. Just inside the facility and outside the facility. Knowing that you're gonna have elite coaches, and then as well as elite resources like Phil Knight showing up to the game, being on the sideline while you're playing, right? And then all the celebrities that alumni that show up to Oregon as well. And I think just the brotherhood that we have here as well. That's also really underrated. So.
Is it different than other teams you've been on, like in the past? Like how do you like measure that?
I'd for sure have to say like this is one of the best teams that I've ever been a part of. Just guys hanging out with each other, guys just being close with each other, and then I think that's also a separating factor. Nowadays with the transfer portal, with a lot of guys, new guys coming from all across the country, right? You got to be able to bond with those guys.
Is it crazy like seeing how talented like freshmen are? Like you see like young guys come in compared to like, I mean you're an older guy, so like compared to like your class.
Oh yeah.
Is it the same or is it getting better?
I think it's getting better. Like nowadays you're seeing a lot of freshmen that are ready to play. I think that they've been developing. There's a lot of elite high school coaches that are coaching at an elite level right now that could, there's a lot of high school coaches that could end up being college coaches, in recent years up to come, right? So I think just the development that the guys are getting in high school right now, having them is preparing them to be college ready when they first step into college.
You eager to go into coaching after the league?
We'll have to see. I'll have to double back on that, but yeah, no, that's for sure something that's in the back of my mind. Coaching, because loving this game of football is always going to be something that I would want to be a part of.
Do you think you're going to be the kind of guy that retires, or do you think you're always just going to work?
Shoot, I want to retire for sure.
Just retire early, be young.
Yeah, I for sure have to say end up one of my goals is be in the Hall of Fame, right? So retiring in the Hall of Fame. So.
Is there like a sacrifice that like most people wouldn't understand with just playing football, being an athlete at a school?
Oh yeah, a lot of time. You got to sacrifice a lot of time for some of the things that you want to do, right? You might have some like student friends that are going out a lot, right? But you can't live that same lifestyle as some of these people, so you just got to put in a lot of sacrificing time.
Is that something you learned, or like, were you just kind of like, this is the way it is?
That just really knowing that this is the way it is with our schedule. Coming in my freshman year, it was like, wow, like we're always busy all the time, even on weekends when we don't have something, right? It's always, getting better, get better, right? So you want to get better at your craft all the time, and so you might have to do some stuff that, might not be fun, but what's required.
Coach talks a lot about like trying to make a team play left-handed. Is there like a different advantage to that, knowing that you played them before?
I wouldn't say that. Just treating the task at hand the same, right? We know that this is a championship level type of team. We know that this is a championship level type of game. So we know we're gonna get our best shot. And we're gonna give them our best shot.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hey Jeff, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good. All right, so when you think back to kind of how this season started, right? I know obviously for you in the Idaho game and getting a little bit banged up throughout the course of the season, but like to get to this point, right? And thinking about all the work that's gone into it, how do you kind of describe all the ups and downs of it?
Yeah, it's been a lot of trials and tribulations. I think that like you said, getting banged up earlier in the season, attacked my mindset, on my resiliency of just getting back from injury, keeping my spirits up with my teammates, knowing that they look at me as a leader and as a guy on defense especially, right? So I think that shows a lot about my resiliency, just keeping consistent, keeping the same mindset, even though when I started to get back in my groove again, feeling like myself again, right? Feeling 100%. Just showing them that nothing ever died down and nothing ever fell off the table, right? So I think that shows a lot about just my character as well.
How do you describe yourself as a leader? What did you try to do as a leader this season, even when you weren't 100%?
Oh yeah, very vocal, especially on the field. If you're attending one of our practices, I'm always talking and communicating, right? And you can see it in my game as well. Always talking and communicating, no matter what. Letting my teammates know what I see and letting them know like the checks and calls, right? So. And then as well as a connection type of guy. I would for sure have to say, a guy that can hang out with a lot of different position groups that you wouldn't think you'd expect me to hang out with, right? And just being close with everybody on the team, relating to them on a personal level, right? Knowing how to talk to different teammates, knowing what motivates them, knowing their why, right? And I think that's something that you need in the locker room and something that you really want as a leader, right? You don't just want a leader who's just enforcing the culture all the time, right? But also having a leader who understands his teammates and understands the standard of the program as well.
Connection is one of those DNA traits, right, that you guys talk about a ton. And I know, that starts at the top with how Coach Lanning talks about it to you guys, but listening to the way you and your teammates talk about it, it filters right throughout the roster. How do you see that kind of help you guys throughout, some of the good, and some of the tougher times that you encounter?
Yeah, I think that just goes into leaning on your brothers, right? In tough moments, there's multiple games this year that we're tough, right? And so sometimes you got to lean on your brothers and letting them know that you have their back and they've got your back. You've got to know that, right? So going into those tough situations, you already have trust, all that trust and belief in your teammates, right? So when it comes down to that, like all the connection stuff, like hanging out with each other, even though it might be lunch for 5 minutes, right? Just have a good conversation with your teammates, right? So because you never know when that belief and trust and connection will come down to.
It feels from the outside to us that this feels like a national championship caliber matchup, like a heavyweight fight. Does it feel that way to you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially playing them the first time. We know that we got their best shot last time, right? And I know that they're even more fired up to come play in this game, right? Especially in the Rose Bowl. We know that it's a one-game season, and then we're gonna get everybody's best, right? And so, with seeing these guys again, it's a blessing to see these guys again.
And then, Jeff, what excites you about what you guys can do better, in this matchup, based off what you saw and what you guys have talked about from the first time?
Yeah, defensively, I think there was just some mess-ups that we had from last game, but, we were able to, correct it on the sideline during the time. And, that may be from, just little things, right? Having our eyes in the right place or, coverage adjustments, right? So looking back at the self-scout, we know that we attacked it heavily throughout the bye week and the work week, I should say, right? And then as well as having this break before this game as well, attacking that at a high level and knowing that we got to take the ball away more, right? So that was something that we looked at heavily.
Jeff, thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, how's it going?
Good morning. How you feeling, first of all?
Great, man. Great.
How's the enthusiasm? And I'm going to say this. When you step out onto the field come Rose Bowl Day, January 1, what will your adrenaline feel like and the enthusiasm stepping out onto the field?
I think it'll be through the roof. Like, I can't even... Man, like I'm getting fired up right now just thinking about it, right? So I think it'll be through the roof, man. Just taking it all in, pre-game, just realizing how blessed we are to be in this moment, how blessed we are to see this team again, right? So I think it's something that I can't even describe in words, right? It's something that you just gotta be there and feel it, right? Just taking everything in.
Personally, what is your motivation? What inspires you? What's within your DNA that makes you a winner?
Yeah, I'd for sure have to say my family, and then my desiredness and my perfectionism to be the greatest, to be the best, right? I think that I have a large ambition, and I'm very hard on myself. I'm a guy that wants everything to be perfect, right? And if it's not, if I don't feel like it's up to my standard, then I'm hard on myself, right? So I think that's just that dog in me. Like I'm a dog player, right? Just knowing that. Going out there with the mentality every day that I'm the best every time I step on that field, right? So I think that's it.
Who inspired you as you were growing up? What player or athlete was an inspiration to you growing up?
Yeah, I have a couple right now. Patrick Willis and then Sean Taylor, both two players that I was really inspired by. And then Luke Kuechly as well when it comes to, his smartness, his leadership, just, his being able to be an enforcer on the field, right? So those are a couple guys that stand out to me right now.
What would you say to all your friends, family, and fans?
Shoot, appreciate you guys, man, for believing in me, trusting in me, and I know that you guys have been there for me ever since day one, right? And thank you for taking me under your wing, Oregon fans, and then my family. I love you guys. Appreciate y'all.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate it.
How are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. Yourself and your fellow players up here on the stages have gotten a lot of recognition this year for what you've done, what Oregon has done. Are there players on the team that you think haven't gotten enough recognition, and if so, who?
Yeah, guys like Kingston Lopa, who showed up in the Big Ten championship game. I think he's a young guy who's going to be really great for this program, and a guy that's who his role wasn't as large at the beginning of the season, but heading into the just like I said, the championship game, he had a huge role on third down for us, and then as well as guys like Noah Whittington. I feel like Noah Whittington hasn't really got a lot of shine, but he's a dog at the running back position. A guy who can block, a guy who can catch passes out the backfield, right? So I think that those are two people that show up in the forefront of my mind right now. And then as well, Jamari Caldwell, big boy on my defensive line. I think he's a guy who, always doing his job, always taking on double teams, always, in the right place at the right time. But he's not going to get a lot of shine on, the stat sheet. But a guy who's an enforcer.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
ESPN Radio.
Hey, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Good.
Field analyst. I'll be my fat ass will be down there with you.
What was that?
I'm the field analyst for ESPN Radio, so you'll see my fat ass down there with you.
All right.
Just a couple seconds. My daughter's a freshman, by the way, at Oregon.
At Oregon. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
she babysits from Malcow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. How's she like it?
She
Loves
loves it.
it? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Jeff Bassa coming down 3-2-1. Jeff, rematch, Ohio State, Oregon. Here we go again. What feels different besides it being a college football playoff game? What feels a little bit different about this one?
Just knowing that we've played these guys once, and just having the blessing and the opportunity to play them again, right? All the emotion and all the fire leading up to the previous game, we know that it's a one-game season now, so it's even more amped up this time, right? So,
what was the downtime like? Because there's that age-old discussion: rest versus rust. Your head coach, man, I mean, he's different. There ain't no doubt about it when it comes to Dan Lanning. How did you guys make sure there's no rust that came in with the rest?
Yeah, just attacking everything every day. Just knowing that we had to go back and look at the self-scout of what we did, throughout the season, and then going as well, heading into after finding out that we were going to play them over Tennessee, just going back and looking at what we did bad and also what we did good previous game, and how we could be even better in those moments, right? But also going into the work weeks, like you said, like having a lot of time leading up to this game, just looking at going back to the fundamentals and the details, right? So we can play to the best of our abilities.
Getting the ball, when you look at Will Howard, that two-headed monster at running back, that freak wearing 4, I think they spawned in a lab in Jeremiah Smith. What jumps out to you when you watch Ohio State's offense?
Yeah, an offense.
I'm with you, man.
Sorry, excuse me.
You're good.
Yeah, an offense that can fire on all cylinders, can run the ball, and it could also pass the ball as well.
Take your time, we're taking it. You're good. Some water?
Oh yeah, excuse me.
I'm on 3 hours of sleep into the Alamo Bowl. Yeah, I'm with you.
It's all good.
All good. All right, so when it comes to stopping that rushing attack, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, obviously every coach is going to tell you, and you're going to tell me the same thing, you got to stop the run first. How do you do that against that attack?
Yeah, you just got to knock back tackle, right? Those are guys that, two powerful running backs that can, keep running their feet, right? So it starts with the point of attack, just knowing that you got to have better leverage and, have more strength at the point of attack, right? So that starts with, tackling low and driving your feet, right? So it starts with the fundamentals of football, right? You got to have knockback at the point of attack, and so especially with two great running backs like that, that's something that's going to be critical.
When Will Howard's on, he's on at quarterback for Ohio State. When you watch him on tape, what jumps out to you?
Yeah, just his leadership and his demand and his, when you're looking at him on tape, he takes real leadership of that offense, right? And so, we know that they're flowing through him. A guy who, came in from the transfer portal and, took that offense to be one of the best offenses in college football, right? So I think that's think that that's something that tremendously steps out on about him on film. And then as well, a good D-ball passer, right? Just like you said, him throwing passes to number 4, always on the money. So got a lot of respect for him.
Last one, you're going to the NFL, and this is your last ride wearing that uniform, wearing that beautiful green and yellow and number 2 right there for the Oregon Ducks. What do these last games mean to you personally?
Yeah, they mean the world. It means everything to me. A guy who wasn't heavily recruited in high school, a guy who came to Oregon, became one of the key contributors on defense, a leader for this team, right? I know that I'm going to be giving them my all for these last couple of games, right? I know that everything, just sacrificing everything to the maximum right now, right? Just putting everything aside for these last couple of weeks, just like I have this whole season, right? So just knowing that it's all money in, it's all money in right now.
Good luck, man. Come away healthy.
Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
How you doing, Jeffrey? Anthony DeLeon, LA Times. Just to start off, obviously this is the second matchup with Ohio State. The first one, your coach strategically, did the 12th man flag to give you guys an advantage. What was your thoughts running through your mind in that instance? Were you aware of it? Were you aware of what he was doing? At that time.
Yeah, I was aware of it. Aware of it, but just focus on my job at hand, right? Really wasn't focused on too much about the 12th man or everybody else being on the field, right? But also wanted to make sure my guys were in the right call at the time and making sure in a critical situation that we were going to execute. So yeah, just worried about my job and just making sure everybody was on the same page at the same time.
Your coach at that time, just being strategically aware of that situation and making a smart move.
Yeah, we always like to go over, situational football, in team meetings and, in the off season as well. So we spend a lot of time on, we spend a lot of time working on, those situations. So, that was a great situation that showed up for us and, that everybody else got to see.
A lot of people after that game, praised your coach for that decision, being the master strategist. On the flip side, a few others questioned the ethics of the call, received a little bit of criticism, just in terms of sportsmanship. What are your overall thoughts on that? Your coach being that coming into question.
Really not too negative thoughts on that. I mean, not too really focused on the outside and external factors and the opinions of others, right? So, like I said previously, just situations that we always work on and that we always talk about, and we like to be the smartest team and the most educated football team, right? So I think that showed up for us.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you guys have preached taking it one game at a time, which every team does, but you guys have come this far being undefeated. You have only a few more games to go. Has there been any discussions just within the team or just in general of we're this close to our ultimate goal and we need to move forward, but also just is there an added pressure to that?
No, there's really no pressure. We're not even too focused on, we're talking about national championship, right? We're focused on this week and, this game, right? So you can't look too far ahead because then you'll miss a step of what's right in front of you, right? So you got to be focused on the task at hand, and then that's also going to be on me preaching that to my guys as well, yeah, right? So not focused on looking too far down the street, but focus on what's right in front of us at this moment.
And seeing Dan for the first time throughout this process and just the way that he's handled all of this running this program, can you talk about from what you've seen of him just handling the program and handling maybe you guys might not be getting the pressure of finishing the job, but at some point the coaches do handle them and don't let it kind of gravitate towards you guys. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I think he's been handling everything at an elite level. A guy who whenever we're putting tough situations, he's a guy who's always gonna look at what can we do better, right? And what can we learn from, even though it might not be a tough situation, that it could be a positive situation, right? Like, let's talk about even if we did win, we're still gonna go to the doctor and learn from what we could do better, right? So I think that he does that at an elite level, and a guy that I'm very close with and a guy that I appreciate a lot. Thank you.
Speaking of that, just going back throughout the year, we get a peek behind the curtain with the Ducks versus them videos. What was your reaction when he told you that you guys were going to be listening to Jump Around for that whole Wisconsin week to get ready for that game?
Yeah, confidence. That was really it. Just knowing that, Coach Land is a dog, and, everybody was just, reaching confidence right when he said that, right? So, and then just knowing the mentality behind that as well, kind of understanding him and, what he wanted to enforce to us throughout that game and what his mindset was going into that game, right? So, yeah, that brought a lot of juice and a lot of confidence to the team.
Are you ever surprised at some of the stuff that he brings out to get you guys motivated and mentally ready for all these games?
Oh no, that's him every day. Yeah, he has that dog mentality and that dog mindset every day. So nothing surprising, but just like I said, it boosts a little bit of confidence when you see that consistency show up when he does do that. So
yeah, what do you think is your favorite one of those this year?
Ooh, favorite one. Ooh, good question.
Rice with the bat was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good one. Let's go with.
Surprised you're not saying Gladiator.
See, I had said that in a previous interview, so I'm trying to switch it up right now. Trying to switch it up right
consistent.
now. Yeah, that's right. Let's go with Yeah, let's go with the baseball bat. With the baseball bat, yeah, going out there as a captain pregame. Yeah, I like that one a lot. So
does he keep you guys in, like, it's a player-led team, right? You guys have talked about it. He's talked about that. Does he bring that stuff up with the leaders beforehand, or is it something he just kind of breaks out on Monday and the team rolls with it?
Yeah, he'll sprinkle it on us a little bit, but then sometimes it's a surprise, right? So sometimes it's 50-50 with that.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
What makes Jeremiah Smith such a tough dude to defend?
Yeah, a guy who, a very large catch radius, and a guy who can, win on intermediate routes, short routes, screen passes, and then a guy who can, as we all know, can win on the deep ball as well. So, yeah, very great player. Got a lot of respect for him. Especially as a freshman, right? A guy who, came into that, Ohio State receiver room and, has been doing great things for him. So,
what maybe did you guys learn from that first game facing him?
We learned a lot, totally. So many things off the top of my head, just racing through my mind right now. But a lot of things just coming down to situational awareness, as well as, special teams helped us tremendously in that game. And then defensively, we had a lot of explosive passes from that game and a couple of explosive runs. So those are some things that we're looking forward to.
I meant guarding him. About Smith. What did you learn about? Like trying to bottle him up.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Oh yeah, all good. Number one target, number one receiver, right? Like I said previously, a guy who can win on intermediate routes and in critical situations, they want to get him the ball, right? As we all know. So yeah.
What? Take me to next season, the next crop of Ducks. Who behind the scenes that we haven't been able to see is going to be the next dude? Like, who wows in practice that we don't get to see? Who's going to be when Tez leaves or when, you guys leave, Betcher? Who's going to be the next man up? Who should fans be paying attention to for next year?
Yeah, right now off the top of my head, defensively, I'm going to have to go with Devin Jackson. I think Devin Jackson is going to be a guy who's, going to be a tremendous leader for this Oregon defense. And then offensively, I think Dante Moore is going to be, really good for us as well.
Yeah.
Let me go back to talk about Dev, a guy who's, I came in with him, or he came in a year after me, and I think just with him, just his speed and how he can, run, but also, run and pass coverage, but then I can also stop the run as well. So a really athletically gifted guy.
What's the craziest thing you've seen him do in practice?
Shoot, I'd probably have to say run 22 miles per hour, 23 miles per hour. It's up there, so he's moving. So.
Okay, what about Dante? You mentioned him. How's he grasp the offense? How's he leading behind the scenes?
Yeah, just his leadership that he came in with off the rip. Obviously, we know he's a guy who started last year for UCLA, but him coming in to a new team, just how quickly he bonded with the guys, and how he's a player first type of guy, relationship type of guy first. You can talk to him about anything, football or life.
What have you seen, like his game wise? Is he like a dual threat guy? Is he throw just a 80-yard pass? Like, what does he do well that you've seen in practice and such?
Yeah, he can really do it all. Yeah, has a great zip on the ball, but then also can pull it on his own read as well. So real dual threat type of quarterback. So
does he remind you of anybody, or is he the old dude?
Shoot, really himself. I think that he's going to make a great name for himself. I don't think he's going to be compared to a whole lot of people, but I think he'll make his own category. So
appreciate you. Thank you.
No doubt. What's up, dog?
Hey, Bassa, what's up?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Have you been enjoying being in LA?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's been great so far, especially the weather. So very different than Eugene, Oregon, but I've been loving it so far.
And when you look at this Ohio State team, based on what they were like in October to now, what do you see as the biggest difference?
Yeah, I would have to say a team that is firing on all cylinders right now. A team who sorry, excuse me, but a team that's been doing great on defense, but then great on offense as well. So I think they're on fire right now.
Obviously, they've had some shuffling on the offensive line since you guys played them in October. How has that changed them?
We know that they've had a position move up front. Their center getting hurt, as well as just their left guard moving the left tackle as well. Great player for them, but really right now I think that the main thing with them has been like how great they've molded that O-line together. Just like you said, with having guys go down, they've still been functioning really well at the O-line position as well. So
I know you guys have so much more other things on your mind, but when you see the uniforms get released yesterday, and I know you've been a part of the uniform committee, and to have it be an ode to Rose Bowl's past, how cool is that for you, especially for somebody who's been at Oregon for so many years?
Yeah, I think it's an honor and a blessing to be a part of history and make history as well with. As you've seen in the video, going into the details about the helmet, going into the details about, just the whole uniform, right? So being able to be one of those guys who was, sitting there with Kenny Farr and sitting there with the other guys on the uniform committee, just going through the details and, being able to have the opportunity to be able to choose what, we're going to be wearing for this Rose Bowl game. So.
Yeah, so Ohio State came out with their uniforms. They have like Rose Bowl, like roses within their red stripe. It looks pretty cool, so you guys will look great.
No doubt.
I want to ask you too about Jordan James. I talked to Coach Lanny about just his growth from the beginning of the season to now. And he says that the way that he practices is super unique. I haven't been able to see that. A lot of us don't get to be able to see that. What do you see with the way Jordan James practices?
Yeah, it would have to. One word that's popping off the top of my head right now would have to be angry. Yeah, he runs angry. He practices angry. So a guy that makes me better every day in practice. A guy that I appreciate a lot and have a good relationship with as well. Right. So always that competition in practice. There's a lot of drills where it's running back versus linebacker. Right. So appreciate him for making me better. And I for sure have to say he just practices angry. So I like that.
Yeah, and hopefully this rest. I mean, I know there's always that argument between rest versus rust. Do you guys feel like not having that, having that first round bye was really beneficial to you? Are you feeling like fresh?
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like it's been very beneficial to the whole team and to all of us. I think just getting our bodies back, but then also attacking the work. That's something that we're always going to do is keep grinding at it, keep chipping at it, and then also looking back at things we did good and things we did bad as well. Things we can learn from, and things that just going back into the fundamentals of the game, tackling at an elite level, defensively. Keep itching at it, to be the best defense, right? So just looking at us, looking in the mirror, and then just going from there, and keep improving every day, and finding every aspect of where we can keep chipping at it to be the best version of ourselves, right?